Welcome back to the Donovan and Jorgensen Heating and Cooling Friday Night Rivals pregame show. We're getting you ready for kickoff as the Slinger Owls travel to Hartford to take on the Orioles. Hartford is 1-1 this year with a win over Waukesha West and a loss last week to Germantown. We're now joined by the head football coach at Hartford Union High School. He is John Redders. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good. Mike, thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, and thank you for allowing us to be part of this rivalry game again. You know, it's we talked in the opening segment, Coach, it's more than just a football game. You know, you guys have come together for a number of years, raised a lot of money for a really good cause, and I think it's more than what happens on the field, but at the end of the day, these players, it's about what happens on the field, and let's talk a little bit about this year's team, Coach. You guys are 1-1, feeling pretty good about where you're at.
Yeah, we got a bunch of young guys that are playing. And again, you get through those first two non-conference games. A lot of growing up to do for some of those kids that have never played varsity football. And we got a handful of good, solid seniors that are definitely leading the way and helping us get through some of those growing pains. But no, I think we're satisfied. With coming out of that first game, we got down a little bit. We were able to fight back and started seeing our offense click a little bit. Our defense started getting a few stops. Against Germantown, we came out again with some great enthusiasm. We just had trouble getting that ball in the end zone. We were able to drive down inside of their 10-yard line twice, had a pick on one and a turnover on downs on the other, and just did not go our way. Hats off though to Germantown. Jake Davis does a great job. He's got a pretty good machine over there this year. I think that they're gonna do some good things. So looking at that, they beat Homestead at the start of the year. We played two really good football teams. So to come out 1-1 and to take those lessons we've learned, I think we're pretty happy with where we're at right now.
You know, Coach, with talking with a number of high school football coaches throughout the year, and basketball coaches, the same thing. We all set goals, right? Let's use these first two non-conference games to figure out where we're at. But it's now kind of everybody's 0-0, and this conference you're in, it's a difficult conference. And certainly we all make the goal of let's win our conference. That's our first goal. And your conference, Coach, I have to tell you, every Friday is going to be a difficult matchup.
Yeah, the North Shore Conference prides itself on being good from the top to the bottom. I know there's been a couple teams that have struggled late to get some W's up there, but even those teams have been able to challenge even the best of us. And again, this is a good year to look at, like West Bend West, who struggled the last couple of years, and they're putting a lot of points up on the board. And Whitefish Bay was down a little bit, but you go back just a couple of years ago, they were conference champs in 2020. So they're doing the right things. It is a very competitive conference. I think part of that just comes from, Southeast Wisconsin is just known for good football, right? And I think part of the thing is, if you look at our non-conference schedules, most of our programs are lining up playing good football teams. Arrowhead played Homestead the other day. Badger against Slinger. We're playing Waukesha West out of the Classic 8. So, it's good football. We try to match up and teach our programs to get ready for the to get ready for the conference season, which starts this Friday.
Hey, you had talked about some seniors that really kind of make this team go. And for people that are going to watch this game, I want to start with E.J. Brown. He's a kid that has been part of the program, and he works really hard. He's a kid that you guys count on quite a bit.
Yeah, EJ, he's a special kid. He came out, he's one of those kids. We had him, and then we lost him. We got him back. He played for us as a freshman. Mom ended up, and the family ended up moving up to a different town, and he moved school district to sophomore year, and then he got old enough to get his driver's license. So the family re-enrolled him back to Hartford his junior year, but the WIA rules said you can't play. So he was kind of one of those hidden kids that couldn't play varsity football as a junior. And Of course, the first game he comes out against Waukesha West, he has 14 carries, 163 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So it's not a bad start. But ever since he came back, he's been all on board, all in our program. He went to all of our leadership meetings, all of our weightlifting stuff, 7-on-7 camps, you name it. He never lost his desire to be a Hartford Oriole.
Yeah, Coach, you've said nothing but really good things about him the times that we have talked, and he's a kid that you've known about, and some people that are close to the program have known about, but he made himself known really well in week 1. Another player that I think, Coach, we need to talk about is Cooper Rolsma. Is a kid that he didn't mind hitting people for sure, and he's a kid that you count on week in and week out.
Yeah, Cooper Rolsma. So Cooper's one of those kids that, I mean, the genetics go along in his family. His dad was an all-state football player for us back in the 90s, and his dad actually was one of our youth football coaches for several years. So Cooper's been at every Hartford football game as far as he can remember, probably since he was walking, right? So he's one of those kids that will bleed orange and black for the rest of his life. I bet you anything he'll be back in our program as a coach at some point. But Cooper, he's kind of the glue that holds our program together. He's kind of like the icon of our team this year, just because he's got so much invested from his family standpoint. But he's one of those leaders. When we got done with our season, we lost level 1 to Sun Prairie 38-31 last year. And I'll tell you what, that next Monday, he was the first kid to be at the door, to be in the weight room. And he says, Coach, I am not going to stop. I'm getting ready for 24. And that's been the way ever since that last game ended last year, that he's been there. He's been again, one of the leaders in our leadership program. Absolutely. But he's got a fire in him that it's hard to contain. And when he gets that hunger for Friday night football, he's a very good football player for us.
Coach, I can't thank you enough for your time here tonight, and I look forward to spending some time with you on the sidelines during the game. Good luck tonight. Let's raise a lot of money. It's just an event that there's such a big event going on other than the football game, and raising money for American Cancer Society, and hopefully we'll be able to help you do that. Let's get to a break. Other side, we'll be joined by this week's Current Electric behind-the-scenes superhero of the week. This is the Donovan Jorgensen Heating and Cooling Friday Night Rivals pregame show only on My 24.